Hello guys, Nebris here, and this is a proof of concept video for a redpower based storage, retrieval, and auto crafting system. Now, this is for use on the Mindcrack mod pack because it currently lacks any sort of good method of getting items and auto crafting them. It doesn't have applied energistics or logic pipes. So this is the system I've come up with for storing items and retrieving them so that they can be auto-crafted into very advanced materials. So without any further ado, let's get into it. This is a basic storage system for storing these three items. We have leather, reeds, and wood. Now, normally what you do is you have a chest here, in this case, this red, white chest. This is where you throw all your items in. It gets, there's a timer attached to this filter, and it sends things into these pipes. These filters up here will make sure that only wood gets into this barrel, only reeds get into this barrel, and only leather gets into that barrel. These filters down here have the same idea that what they do is whenever you need a certain amount of an item, what you do is it'll output one of these items at a time. We have wireless receivers back here. So let's say you wanted 3 leather. What you would basically do is have the wireless transmitter of 3 have that pulse 3 times, and it'll send 3 of these leather pieces into an ingredients chest. That is the gist of the storage. Basically, it allows you to keep items in their densest form, I guess you could say. That way you don't have to have, all the different things you would need. You wouldn't have to have crafting tables, chests, wooden planks, and whatnot. You can just have the wooden logs. That's the goal of this system, is that you can store things in their rawest form and craft them as you need them. So now let's get on to how the auto crafting works. Alright guys, this is my basic auto crafting unit. The first part is the receiver frequency. This is basically the frequency you want to hit in order to craft whatever it is you're expecting to craft. This is the paper crafting system I have. So what happens is you send a signal into here. It increments these 2 counters. I'm going to assume you know how these different tiles work. If you don't, I would recommend getting a tutorial on this before continuing, because this is some pretty complicated logic stuff, and I really don't want to have to also go over how these things actually function. I just want you to know where to put them and what angle to put them at. So what this does is the moment that this thing is incremented above its 0 state, this little redstone torch here will turn off, activating this timer. This timer will then change this RS NOR latch to true, which will then activate this little guy. This guy sends signal to a NOT gate, which will deactivate it, thus activating these 2 timers. This timer over here takes 3.25 seconds to complete its rotation. When it completes it, it turns off the RS NOR latch, disabling this entire system here, and it also decrements the counter. If it decrements the counter all the way back to 0, this timer will turn off, and thus it'll never reset this RS NOR latch, meaning this system is done. Now over here we have a timer that goes off once every second. So the idea is that this thing takes 3.25 seconds to complete its cycle. This thing needs to go off 3 times in the time it takes for this to complete its cycle, so that it can summon 3 reeds, which is number 2. So number 2 here, we have reeds, sugarcane I guess it's called these days. So basically what this does is for every time you press the 100, it increments the counter. Every time the counter has been incremented, it goes through a cycle of this thing, which summons 3 reeds. So I could press this 100 times. Actually, I can't because there's a maximum on the counter. I could press this 35 times. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I could press this 100 times, and it would increment this counter 100 times, and it would summon 300 reads. That's basically how I expect this to work. So now that that's done, let's take a look at this side. So this counter, now also above 100, um, this counter also activates a timer in a similar way. This guy will start telling this filter to retrieve ingredients. Now this filter only wants to retrieve 3 sugarcane from here. So the moment I put 3 sugarcane in here, the filter, if it's active, is going to see that there's 3 sugarcane in here and put it into this ingredients buffer chest here. The reason I have this like disabled is so that let's say you have another auto crafting system that does sugar into sugarcane. It's going to look into this ingredients chest and say, oh, we've got some sugarcane in here. We only have 1, but that's all that I need to make my sugar. So I'm just going to grab this sugarcane and make sugar out of it. But we don't want that because we're putting that sugarcane in there for the purpose of making paper. So what this system does here is it tells you that, hey, we only want to make paper out of this sugarcane. Let's not activate any of the filters that aren't making paper. So that's what that does. So this thing finds the 3 sugarcane in there, puts it into this chest here. This fabricator will notice that there's 3 reeds in that chest, and it'll fabricate a piece of paper. Now once the piece of paper has been fabricated, it goes into here. This activates an items in inventory to redstone signal gate. That thing does 2 things. First, it activates this filter and sends it back into the ingredients chest. Second, it decrements this counter. So what happens is, let's say we wanted 3 sets of 3 paper. This thing would be pressed 3 times, so press the 100 button 3 times. This thing would increment 3 times, and it won't decrement until 3 sets of paper are made. So every time you make a set of paper, this thing decrements the counter. So basically that ensures that this guy is only on when it needs to be, and it's off the moment it's done its job. And that is basically a paper maker. Let's give you guys a quick show of how it works. It's discovered that it needs to start sending paper. That's going to click 3 times. It's shooting out the reeds, putting them into the ingredients chest, and making a piece of paper. It's actually a bit faster than I expected it to be, but now we have the paper that we summoned. So I'm going to move on to the other parts and show you more advanced things like books. 1 second. Alright, I'm back, and this is the book crafting area. It's basically the same thing, but with a different frequency. These function in the exact same way. It gets the ingredients for the books, puts them into the buffer chest, and fabricates them, and then decrements the counter. Over here, we have another 3¼ second timer system, and this time I have 2 things over here. These things last for 3 seconds, so each one should only be summoned once during the cycle. The first thing summons 100, which is the paper. So basically, you don't have to have it summon reeds and also make paper here. We can just use the existing paper crafting system we already have in place to get the paper we need for the book. So this will summon 1 set of 3 paper, and this will summon a piece of leather in just a single one because the timer is on 3 seconds. This one is also on 3 seconds. So during this cycle, it should only go off once. So that's it. Let's show you guys us making a book. So it's going to ask for 1 thing of leather and 3 reeds. Eventually, there it goes. 1, 2, 3. Let's go over here and check it out. All the things are in the ingredient. Nope. Yeah, there it goes. It beat me. So now we have our book. Ta-da! a book. Yay! So over here is a log crafting system. I won't bore you with the details of that, but it's just there to create wooden planks out of logs. Now over here is the big kahuna. The purpose of this entire system is bookshelves. So I need to summon 3 books and 6 wooden planks. Basically, the only way to do that is to use the 200 system, which gives me planks. I need that to go off twice. Wait a sec. No, 200 is books. So I need this to. I need to get 3 books. So this thing should go off 3 times in the time it takes for this thing to complete a cycle of summoning. So that should give me 3 books. Or that should tell my book system to craft 3 books, which will then tell my paper system to craft 3 sets of 3 paper. Now this guy over here is the 300. That is the wooden planks, and that needs to go off twice because we need 6 planks. We're gonna have 2 planks left over from that, and I'm not quite sure how I want to deal with leftovers at the moment. But for the time being, we're just gonna, also get 2 wooden planks out of it. So what we have here is a uh, timer interval that goes off twice in the time it takes for this to complete a cycle. And that should give us 3 books and 8 planks. Most of that will get sucked into here and crafted into a bookshelf. So for the sake of 2, 3, for the sake of showing you guys full stacks, there we go. So we are going to activate the bookshelf crafter of justice. So it's going to start ordering its um, materials. We're going to lose 3 of these, 2 of those, and 9 of these. So that should be 61, 62, and 55. 61, 62. This should go down to 55 if everything works. Please work. Yep, there we go. So as you can see, the materials start flooding into here. We're going to get paper soon, and then another book, another set of paper, then another book, and then the books are going to disappear. And then we're going to get ourselves a bookshelf. Yay! And we have 2 planks left over. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the deep storage unit crafting thing of pretty much ultimate justice. Again, this is a proof of concept video. I've only really done bookshelves here, but this thing should work in theory with just about anything you want to craft. My next goal for this system is to figure out what to do with extra stuff and to figure out how to implement this, integrate it with like furnaces and macerators and whatnot to get some of the more difficult materials. But in theory, this is looking pretty solid and it's not too resource intensive either. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I would love to see some of your guys' auto crafting systems as well. That's basically it, guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.